Have you ever trusted someone only to later realize they weren't who you thought they were? It happens all the time. We see people smiling, acting friendly, and saying all the right things. But beneath the surface, their true character might be completely different. The question is, how can we tell the difference between someone who's genuine and someone who's just playing a role? The good news? You don't need a psychology degree to figure it out. There are small but powerful clues that reveal someone's real nature. These aren't abstract theories, but concrete behaviors, things we all encounter daily, but often overlook. And once you learn them, you'll never see people the same way again. From the way someone treats those with no power to how they handle criticism, these subtle signs can tell you more about a person than their words ever could. Pay close attention, because by the end of this video, you'll have a completely new perspective on human behavior. Let's begin. 1. How a person treats those who can't return the favor. One of the most telling signs of true character is how someone treats people who have nothing to offer them, those who can't give them money, status, or connections. You've probably seen it before, a person who is overly charming in front of important people, but dismissive or rude to waiters, cashiers, or even their own employees. This behavior reveals a lot. A genuinely kind and respectful person treats everyone with decency, regardless of their social standing. On the other hand, those who are only respectful when they think it benefits them are showing their true nature, one that's based on self-interest, not integrity. Consider this. In 2015, a well-known CEO was caught on camera berating an employee at a fast food restaurant simply because his order took too long. The footage went viral, and his reputation was destroyed overnight. Why? Because people instinctively recognize that mistreating those in a weaker position is a clear indicator of arrogance and entitlement. Psychologists call this social dominance orientation, a personality trait where people see interactions as power struggles rather than equal exchanges. Those high in this trait tend to mistreat others when they feel superior. And here's the catch. This trait doesn't just appear in major situations, it's visible in everyday interactions. So, how can you spot this behavior? Pay attention to the little things. Do they say thank you to service workers? Do they show patience when someone makes a mistake? Do they speak to people with respect, regardless of their status? These small moments reveal far more about character than any grand speech or carefully crafted image ever could. 2. The psychological value of keeping promises. We all know someone who constantly makes promises but never follows through. At first, it might seem like a small issue. After all, life happens and plans change. But over time, a pattern emerges. Missed deadlines, broken commitments, and excuses that don't quite add up. The truth is, keeping promises isn't just about being reliable, it's about integrity. When someone consistently follows through on their word, they're sending a clear message. I respect you enough to honor my commitments. On the flip side, when a person repeatedly breaks promises, it's not just inconvenient, it's a sign of deeper issues. Studies in psychology show that unreliable behavior is linked to lower conscientiousness and even a lack of empathy. Take the case of Elizabeth Holmes, the former CEO of Theranos. She promised groundbreaking medical technology, securing billions in investments. But behind the scenes, it was all a lie. She overpromised, underdelivered, and ultimately deceived thousands. This is an extreme example, but the principle is the same. A person who constantly makes empty promises is showing you who they are. So, watch for these signs. Do they follow through on small commitments, like showing up on time? Do they overpromise and underdeliver? When they break a promise, do they take responsibility or make excuses? Trust isn't built on words, it's built on consistent actions. 3. How someone handles power and control. Have you ever noticed how power changes people? Some remain humble, while others become controlling, arrogant, or even cruel. There's a reason for this. Power doesn't just reveal character, it amplifies it. Studies like the Stanford prison experiment showed that when given authority, people often behave in ways they never would otherwise. A famous real-world example is the case of Enron executives in the early 2000s. Given unchecked power, they manipulated financial reports and destroyed countless lives. But what's even more interesting? Many of these executives were once seen as ethical professionals. It wasn't until they had absolute power that their true nature was exposed. This applies to everyday life too. Watch how people behave when they gain even a little bit of power. How does a new manager treat their team? Does someone change when they get money, fame, or status? Do they use power to uplift others or to control them? A good person remains consistent no matter how much power they hold. 4. How someone reacts to stress and adversity. It's easy to be kind when everything is going well. But what happens when someone is under pressure? That's when their true nature is revealed. Stress strips away the mask people wear in public. A patient, understanding person will still try to maintain composure, even in tough situations. But an unstable or toxic person, they'll lash out, blame others, or completely shut down. Psychologists call this emotional regulation. Those who struggle with it often resort to toxic behaviors like playing the victim, blaming others for their problems, reacting aggressively to minor inconveniences. A classic example is how celebrities handle scandals. Some, like Keanu Reeves, respond with grace and accountability. Others double down, attack critics, or spiral into self-destruction. The next time you see someone under stress, ask yourself, are they handling it with maturity or letting their worst traits take over? 5. How someone handles criticism. No one likes being criticized, but how someone reacts to it can reveal everything about their character. There are two types of people. 1. Those who see criticism as an attack and react with anger or defensiveness. 2. Those who listen, reflect, and grow from it. The first group tends to be insecure. They take criticism personally because deep down, they fear being exposed. The second group, however, values self-improvement over ego. A great example is Michael Jordan. Early in his career, he was cut from his high school basketball team. Instead of blaming others, he used the criticism as fuel, working harder until he became one of the greatest athletes of all time. When someone receives feedback, pay attention. Do they listen or interrupt? Do they acknowledge mistakes or shift blame? Do they seek to improve or shut down? A person's ability to accept criticism is one of the clearest signs of emotional intelligence. Conclusion. By now, you've learned 5 powerful ways to see someone's true character. These behaviors aren't random. They're deeply ingrained patterns that reveal who a person really is. Remember, watch how they treat those with no power. Pay attention to whether they keep their promises. Observe how they act when they gain power. Notice their response to stress. See how they handle criticism. These clues are everywhere. You just have to know where to look. If this video opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe for more deep insights into human nature. Share this with someone who might need it. And as always, stay mindful, stay observant, and trust what people show you over what they say.